Hi everyone, I am Stephanie Hung, a member of the Hong Kong Federation of Women International Affairs Subcommittee. I am a practicing lawyer in Hong Kong, and I have attended UNCSW a few years ago in New York, as well as the online UNCSW 65 last year. Thank you so much for joining us today to our parallel event. After our topic of Hong Kong women in the time of the pandemic last year, we found that the role of the man in the family during this period is very important. In fact, according to Hong Kong YWCA's survey published just earlier this month on the 6th of March, 2022, the physical and mental health of around 1,100 women interviewed were below average. A working woman lacked rest as they have to balance work and family household duties, such as housework, cleaning, caring for their children, the sick, and the elderly. We thought it would be a good time for us to revisit the idea of HeForShe and the impact it has on their family and the greater society. Our topic this year is HeForShe, HeForFamily, and He for Hong Kong. We have an amazing lineup to share on this topic today. We're so excited and grateful to have our Legislative Council members, Mr. Rock Chen, Mr. Robert Lee, and Mr. Sunny Tan. We also have some other super dads sharing us for today about the role that they play in the family. Last but not least, we have a very, very exciting special guest, but don't let me give it away. Guiding you through our parallel event today, we have young Hong Kong women and council members of our federation. We have Ms. Heidi Wong, who is in the HR field and financial industry, Ms. Winnie Chan, a practicing lawyer, and Ms. Karen Kwan, head of digital services in an advertising agency. Do you remember our friendly faces from our parallel event last year? During our parallel event, please feel free to put any questions you have in the Q&A button just down below, and we hope to answer them at the end of our session. And we're also happy to receive any comments and feedback via the chat box. So without further ado, let me pass the time to Heidi to provide us with an introduction of Hong Kong, our federation, and our parallel event. See you soon and enjoy.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. I'm Heidi, a committee member of International Affairs Subcommittee. As mentioned by Stephanie, we have interviewed some super daddy from the Hong Kong Legislative Council, and let's have some interview highlights first.
But now as they grow up, I teach them values such as integrity, humility, gratefulness, responsibilities, respect, etc. And I tried to lead by example.
Difficult to comment on how each family should operate, but families should all try to be as supportive as possible and find out what works for them.
It's very important to me, to every one of us, and we as men does have a fair share that we need to take on to support our family, for support the household, and more importantly, we need to manage our emotional health to be strong enough in taking the leadership and support the family.
Thank you, those super daddies. And we will hear more of their sharing in the coming sections. Before that, in order to have a basic idea of the current Hong Kong women's situation, we prepared a video as an introduction of the Hong Kong women and the Hong Kong Federation of Women.
我哋係女兒、妻子、母親、奶奶。我哋走在時代前列，努力創造更美好嘅未來，係文明嘅開創者、社會進步嘅推動者、繁榮發展嘅貢獻者。我哋每日自強不息，共同為香港創造咗一個又一個嘅突破，一次又一次嘅第一名。我哋相信，只要堅持，夢想總係可以實現嘅。女性總係可以發揮不斷前進奮鬥嘅新時代巾幗力量。富有前瞻視野同思維嘅香港女性，總係敢為人先，以拼搏、以汗水開創先河。早喺1993年，香港已經有第一個跨界別嘅婦女團體——香港各界婦女聯合協進會。由當時少有嘅女性立法局議員林貝月嘉博士牽頭，同10位政商社福界別嘅傑出女性領袖破天荒創立。香港婦協 立足香港，背靠祖國，面向國際，喺海內外一直擔當重要嘅橋梁角色。HeForShe一直凝聚跨界別、跨行業嘅婦女團體，以創新思維搭建合作交流平台，等女性可以積極關心同參與社會事務，加強對祖國嘅認識，同時擴大對外交往網絡，從而更好咁把握一國兩制嘅優勢，同埋國家提出包括一帶一路、粵港澳大灣區城市規劃等嘅建設，融入國家大局同大灣區發展，捉緊十四五國家規劃帶嚟嘅龐大機遇，利用女性軟實力，協力維護香港穩定繁榮，為促進特區社會同經濟嘅全方位及持續發展貢獻力量。HeForShe建立堅實嘅成就，成為香港婦女組織嘅典範。每年舉辦超過100項活動，亦都創下多個先河。為咗令年輕女性深入了解國家，我哋推出半邊天青年領袖培訓計劃，透過國情研習講座、領袖培訓工作坊、參觀考察等，擴闊佢哋嘅視野，為社會培育出色嘅人才，等佢哋可以積極回饋社會，貢獻國家。同時，把握香港作為大灣區核心城市嘅優勢。HeForShe喺2019年創辦巾幗見新力論壇，透過呢個國際平台，匯聚海內外巾幗精英，推動女性主導嘅社會創新力量，擴大婦女嘅國際影響力。論壇創造咗廣泛嘅機會，推動更多嘅女性，特別係年輕一代發揮潛能，積極服務社會，樹立典範。HeForShe亦都係香港首個獲認可為聯合國經社理事會專業類諮商地位之非政府組織。多年嚟，定期派代表出席聯合國會議，代表香港婦女向國際社會發聲，將佢哋嘅聲音帶到國際舞台。HeForShe亦都不斷拓展本地同海外婦女團體嘅聯繫，加強互動交流，討論各項同婦女發展相關嘅社會政策同實際經驗。我哋亦鼓勵會員出席聯合國會議同國際組織活動，為香港婦女發聲，將香港HeForShe宗旨宣揚到國際。香港HeForShe將會喺國家賦予嘅良好基礎上積極前行，敢於擔當。喺未來，藉住我哋嘅國際視野同人脈網絡，繼續發揮橋梁作用，同心協力，展現婦女嘅軟實力同對社會同國家嘅貢獻。
As mentioned by the video, the Hong Kong Federation of Women was formed by our founding chairperson, Dr. Peggy Lam, in 1993, and it is now led by our chairperson, Ms. Pansy Ho currently. Thank you for their great leadership, for leading the Federation, working closely with the government in Hong Kong in regarding to promote gender equality and enhance women empowerment over decades. Last year, we organized the second edition of the Women Power Forum, which is an international forum created in China that focuses on women power, aims to establish a global platform where world leaders from different sectors come together to facilitate women empowerment in an annual effort to catalyze women-driven social innovations, share game-changing ideas, and craft opportunities for positive change through international exchange and cooperation, thereby creating a constructive media where women's voices are heard and heeded. The theme of the forum was Herald a New Chapter of Harmony and Growth for Our World City. We also had the inaugural ceremony for our 2021-2023 Council. We are honored to have Chief Executive of HKSAR, Mrs. Carrie Lam, Vice Chairman of the National Committee of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and former Chief Executive, Don Mr. Len Chen-Yang, to support our program. Over 20 speakers were invited to share their insights in their field of whatever, including arts and culture, business and finance, technology, and social innovations. There were over 300 attendants on site and over 150,000 people watching twice our live channel at the same time. We also organized several activities, including music concerts, health talk series, film watching, and kick-off ceremony for outstanding female athletes. It is our honor for having Mr. Andy Lau shooting a short movie for us. Mr. Lau is not just a famous artist in Hong Kong, but also a proactive icon in supporting the family. So let's hear what will Andy share with us.
他为他，他为家，愿每一份父爱都会被理解，愿每一份父爱都得到赞赏。推广孝道，弘扬父爱，在这个8月8日，88爸爸，就从我们的一句“爸爸我爱你”开始。
Thank you, Andy, for this special treat and the support for our event. On this special occasion, we are very honored to have 3 super daddies in the Legislative Council, namely the Honorable Rock Chen Zhongmin, SBS JP, a member of the Election Committee, the Honorable Robert Lee Wai Wang, a member of the Financial Services Functional Constituency, and the Honorable Sunny Tan, a member of the Textiles and Garment Functional Constituency, to share with us about their roles in families, how they support their wives at home, and how men can contribute to the advancement of gender equality. Let's hear from them about how they play an important role in the families and advance gender equality.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rock Chen, and today I'm truly privileged to share with you my experience as both a husband and a father. I would also like to thank the Hong Kong Federation of Women, Dr. Maggie Kuhn, and Mrs. Sophia Cao Lo for their kind invitations. I'm pleased to tell you that I have been happily married for over 2 decades. But I'm still learning how to be a better husband as every day goes by. In my view, there are a few core ingredients in a good marriage. Number 1, always express love and respect in daily behaviors and languages. Always be caring and engage in open, honest communications with my wife. Practically, she and I share everything, ranging from the most important topics to very trivial, insignificant ones. On occasions such as her birthdays, anniversaries, and Christmases, I always shower her with little presents, birthday cakes, and greeting cards. We are equal partners as we share responsibilities in the family. I'm largely responsible for the financial well-being of the family, while she mainly looks after the domestic issues at home. But both of us are heavily involved and engaged in the parenting and education of our 2 sons, the details of which I will share with you later on. Throughout the years, I have taken advantage of opportunities to show my wife my appreciation and validation for her, reassuring her that she has been a fantastic wife, a wonderful mother, and a good partner. In our lives, we all go through ups and downs, but she always stands by me during good times or bad times, and vice versa as well. No 2 people are exactly alike, and of course we are no exception. We don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything, such as daily schedules, parenting, and even home decorations. However, I accept my wife for who she is, always focusing on her personal traits and strengths. In many ways, we are complementary to each other. She is optimistic, positive, fun-loving, and compassionate, while I'm attentive, comprehensive, and responsible. She always says that I'm one of the most trustworthy persons she has ever met in her life, and she never has any doubt in me. For example, before COVID, every year I had countless business trips, and she had absolute confidence in my integrity. We always give each other plenty of me time to maintain our healthy relationship. Finally, my role is to create a safe haven for her financial and emotional support, as I know I am her solution of last resort. Now please allow me to spend a few minutes on my experience as a father. I must say, the times I spend with my boys are the best moments of my life. As a Christian, I believe they are gifts from God. When they were babies, I used to change diapers for them, feed them, and bathe them. And of course, now they are young adults. My skills have become rusty. And I must acknowledge, in those early days, I was too keen as a father. So let me share with you 2 little episodes and you will understand why I said that. When my eldest son was 1 week old, every night he cried in the middle of the night. And given that I was so inexperienced as a father, I didn't know why he cried, so every time I rushed to his attention. And of course, you all know all he needed was a bottle of milk. But I must tell you, that 1 month, I underwent the most effective weight-losing program because I lost 10 pounds in 1 month. So that's something to consider for those who want to lose weight. And the second story is that when my youngest son was 3 years old, one night he had a nightmare. He cried very loudly. And again, I rushed to his room. But this time, unfortunately, my right foot hit a piece of furniture and one of my toes fractured. Despite my operation, my toe never recovered and is still crippled now. I told you these 2 stories because I want to share with you, what kind of father I was during those early days. Probably, on looking back, I was too keen, too eager, and maybe even over anxious. But now as they grow up, I teach them values such as integrity, humility, gratefulness, responsibilities, respect, etc. And I tried to lead by example. I also want to give them the value of a core family. What does it mean by a family? So every week, we spend at least 2 meals with grandparents. So my sons are very close to their grandparents. And whenever possible, scheduling permitting, we will go on summer vacations together. So as a family, the grandparents, the parents, and the children are always together. So they will remember that for the rest of their lives. While my sons are growing up, my style of communications also changed from instructional monologues to open, two-way dialogues. I encourage them to speak up and share their views and thoughts, which I cherish and respect. We will always discuss their ideas and allow them to take part, participate in the decision-making processes. I train them to be independent and to have goals, to pursue their own dreams. Not my dreams, but their dreams. I teach them to be brave and courageous to embrace challenges and difficulties in life. I'm never shy of telling them I love you, and I always accept my sons for who they are. I want them to know that their father is always around to help them pursue a happy, healthy, and productive life.
It is my honor to participate in today's virtual forum as part of the 66th United Nations NGO Commission on the Status of Women, a parallel event organized by the Hong Kong Federation of Women with this year's theme of HeForShe, HeForFamily, She for Hong Kong. A special thanks to the organizers and Dr. Maggie Kong for the kind invitation. I'm happy to share the virtual stage with my fellow LegCo colleagues in sharing my views on how we can all work together to promote gender equality and advancement of women worldwide. I would like to take this opportunity to share both from a professional and also from personal perspective. The new term of LegCo members represent a wide spectrum of sectors and interests. With the expansion of seats from 70 to 90, there are now 10 more women in LegCo, although percentage-wise, it is still a slight increase from 17 to 19%. With more women representation, I hope that there will be more consideration for women causes and issues in our future debates and discussions. A large part of what we do at LegCo is to monitor the work of the Hong Kong SAR government and in general work towards achieving economic progress and improving the livelihoods of people in Hong Kong. Representing the functional constituency of financial services, much of my work involves maintaining close contact with various stakeholders, including the government, regulators, the exchange, and the industry. From a corporate governance perspective, there are now company requirements to have a diversity policy in place, and the level of disclosure should include gender ratios in the workplace by categories of employees and having measurable objectives for achieving gender diversity. This allows companies to make available to them a wider range of talent. Gender diversity for directors in Hong Kong listed companies currently still lag behind other regions around the world, but steps are being taken to change that, as the stock exchange now will prohibit single gender boards among listed companies and IPO applicants going forward. Aside from just public companies, the corporate sector should also be encouraged to put out more family-oriented employment policies and practices, to push forward for policies that empower and train women in having more activities like today's event, and of course working with organizations like Hong Kong Federation of Women will all help push the agenda forward. On the personal side, all the women in my life, including my mother, sister, wife, and daughter, all have impacted me on my view and my role as a husband, brother, father, and son. It's difficult to comment on how each family should operate, but families should all try to be as supportive as possible and find out what works for them. When my daughter was born, the statutory requirements for paternity leave was 3 days, and of course, that has now been slightly improved to 5 days. More policies like this should be reviewed and considered so that the man's role can be more supportive of the women and the family. Personally, as to my role, when my daughter was born, I did what I could to help with chores like changing diapers, feeding the baby, taking turns with my wife to wake up at night when the baby cries. Although raising a child can be very stressful, but looking back, those were really good bonding opportunities with my child. If there's any advice I can give to young fathers, I would say to look at the positive side. For example, with the pandemic, a lot of families are facing a lot of pressures and stress, but ironically, it creates a lot of opportunities. Working from home does allow me to spend more time with my family. Commute time is reduced. Definitely before the pandemic, there were many work-related events and dinners outside normal business hours, so now I can use that time better. I also take an active part in understanding school-related matters and how I can play a part in my child's development. Other activities I do with my child include reading, playing, and spending quality time. Going forward, I believe that I have much more to do professionally and personally on policies and how to make progress. I welcome feedback on my work. I appreciate the opportunity to share my experience today, and I look forward to making contributions in my role at LegCo and at home going forward. I wish the organizers all the best and enjoy the rest of the programming today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sunny Tan. I'm a LegCo member. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to have my sharing here today. About the splitting of work between husband and wife or dad and mom, I would say that it really depends on the individual family. And take myself as an example. Being a full-time LegCo member, of course, I have my own responsibility. And my wife, she has her own restaurant business, as well as she's an influencer in social media. The good part is her work hours will be a lot more flexible and allowing her to take care of the family while I would play a more supportive role. To be honest, I must really thank my wife, Esther, because she has been working so hard giving birth to our 3 boys, and now we have our 4th one coming, a girl. So it's not easy on her side, being a mother of 3 and going to be 4. I really appreciate what she has done for me, for us as a family. And I would say, in terms of the men's side, how we support, I would say that I usually will be taking up times in between my work and also weekend and nighttime to see what I can do in supporting my family and Esther. And to be honest, Esther has been doing me a good favor because a lot of times I'm taking up some fun parts of the responsibilities. For example, like usually when I go back home at nighttime, I would still have my story time with my kids. I would take them out for exercise. These are more fun work that I take on to support the kids with the family. And that builds a great relationship between myself with the family and my kids, and also take up some of the burden or some of the work that my wife is supposed to do. So I would say that split of work in general, I think is needed just to share the responsibilities. At the same time, I think I don't see that as like a heavy work itself as defined. I would say that it's an interesting and fun part of a family life, family time that I really enjoy doing, sharing responsibility with my wife, working with my kids. I think having a mutual respect and mutual understanding will be very important as a foundation. And doing all these works, I think it's fun. It's very valuable when we look back. In general, a lot of people, when we talk about how men involved with the family, supporting our wives, will be more on the physical side for our time, how we spend our time, resources in supporting a family. But I would like to bring another angle to every one of you, is the emotional condition. I think every one of us, we have emotions. And I think for husband and wife, or dad and mom relationship, we do have a lot of emotional situation that we need to handle. And from that aspect, how can we as a man can support the family and to manage it better? All right. I think to start with, we have to understand the emotional situation and condition of the family, ourselves, and also our wife. I think we need to understand how we evolve. When we start, it's a dating, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, and then we move into getting married, becoming husband and wife. So at that stage, how do we manage our regular role, our responsibility? How do we manage our emotional side? How do we communicate, right? And then by the time the wife gets pregnant and then eventually having a kid, then we have a dual role of husband and a father supporting the family. Then how do we manage our own emotion, and how do we manage the emotion of our family member, primarily, of course, wife, right? So I think this is very important that we need to understand so that we know how to face it and how to handle. And along the process, I would say that empathy is very important, because a lot of times, even though we spend time with our wives doing all the housework, but then we need to have the empathy to be with the wife. And on my side, I would say that maybe in general as a man, we are more a solution provider rather than trying to listen and to understand, to provide the empathy. But then throughout the time, I keep learning that listening is very important. How do we try to get ourselves into the role of the wife or the mother and try to understand what kind of situation they are going through, and hopefully we are becoming their cheerleader, to be next door, to be with her, to walk the process, walk the road together. I think this is very important. Of course, we also need to do something to cheer up the family, cheer up our wives. We should show our love. Sometimes Chinese may be a little bit more reserved, not doing it, but I would say that it's important that we really show it. Just to say I love you is very important. And of course, outside we may, there's something called the 5 love languages. This is something that I also learned and I think find it very applicable. In general, we have 5 types of love languages. If you don't know, it's called acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, and gifts. So every one of us, we fall into one or two of these categories. So I would say, how do we show our love and care to manage the emotional side of the family, husband and wife will be very important. And I think personally, I've gone through this, I would say that this is very useful. In terms of government, I would say the government can do a lot more to support women, support the men in forming a healthier, better family, better household. I've been advocating to the government about emotional health. I would say that government does have some programs in terms of dealing with, for example, postnatal depression. But then how do we enlarge the program so that we could have a better early identification of depression symptoms, especially with the pregnant lady, for example? Can we do more preventive measures, such as more counseling service for newly wedded couple, new parents? I think that is a critical stage, change of stage that will affect a lot on emotions. So that would be something that I think the government should do more. And I'm here to advocate more to the government on this. And at last, I would say that family household is very important to me, to every one of us. And we as men does have a fair share that we need to take on to support our family, for support the household. And more importantly, we need to manage our emotional health to be strong enough in taking the leadership and support the family. I hope my sharing is enjoyable to everyone and helpful to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you to these super daddies for sharing the stories with us. We have prepared a short animation about a typical family in Hong Kong and the importance for having an active role of man in the family. The main character in the animation is a working Hong Kong woman living in an average middle-class household. Although she is swamped with household chores, she's fortunate to have a mother-in-law who is willing to offer a helping hand to take care of the child, and a husband who is willing to share in some of the household work. This shows it's very important to have a proactive supporting role of a father and a husband in the family. Let's have a look at the animation. story featured in the animation showed that it's important for men to understand their responsibilities at home in order to foster stronger relationships and ties in the family. Against its background, the Hong Kong Federation of Women organized the Super Dad door design competition last year with a view to encourage the daddies to participate in the upbringing of the children. In the competition, the children shows how they perceive their daddy by showing what their daddy or granddaddies looks like from their eyes. We've provided a white door to kindergarten and primary 1 to 3 students and asked them to use the door to show us what their dads and granddads look like from their eyes. This is the poster for the design competition, and the winners of the competition were announced in January this year. Here are some of the super dads submitted by the children. We were very impressed with the creativity that they've shown us. In order for us to better understand the role of man in the family, we've asked some of the dads from the winning team to tell us more about the dolls. Before these fathers share their story with us, we will show you some of the other dolls by way of video. Although our apologies in advance that due to the time limit, we're not able to share all the videos in today's event.
Good morning. I'm Violet's father. My name is Vincent. I'm so glad to hear that my daughter had won the competition. Let me talk about why she made this doll. Actually, my work is a construction foreman. She saw my work photo before and she feels so funny. So she decided to make this doll for me. When making this doll, I just provide some advice and a little technical support to her. Most of the work was done by my wife and daughter. In normal times, I'm mainly responsible for working outside. After get off work, I will have dinner with them and talk about what happens on every day. Sometimes, I also play interactive games with them. Finally, I want to say I feel so touched when I saw this doll. This proves that I have a certain importance in my daughter's mind. I think this is what every father expects from their children. Is that right? Okay, thank you.
好高興評選揀咗呢個作品，我覺得喺香港作為爸爸嘅都要飾演唔同嘅角色。首先要管理好自己嘅事業，等屋企有穩定嘅收入。有時工作時間都長，所以喺作品上有一半都係着緊返工嘅衫，而另一半係便服。而返到屋企另一個角色就係爸爸。小朋友都好鍾意同我玩，喺呢個年紀咧仲會纏住我嘅，特別係體力遊戲。所以喺作品上咧，小朋友都會趴住喺我膊頭。佢年紀仲細，但係咧都仲可以一齊搓黏土，一齊整呢個作品。而喺我身後咧就背負咗另一樣嘢咧，就係物業啦。相信好多人都知道喺香港居住要有物業咧要俾好多錢，而且好長時間咧都會背負住，所以咧都有經濟壓力，有工作嘅壓力，又要照顧小朋友嘅壓力，所以喺夜晚咧小朋友瞓咗嘅時候咧就我嘅 me time 啦。其中一個減壓嘅方法咧就係打機，所以我嘅作品咧拎住咗一個遊戲機嘅手掣。最後咧同我一齊經營家庭同埋背負壓力嘅仲有我嘅老婆。正所謂 happy wife happy life， 所以咧要令佢咧開心咧，要所有嘢都開心。喺呢個作品上面咧就展現咗一個香港雙職爸爸嘅角色，希望大家鍾意。多謝各位。
Hello everyone, my name is Jocelyn. This is my Baba.
Hello everyone. The doll is about my girl's favorite game that I play with her. Can you tell us the name of the game?
It's Fly Up High.
During the creation, I did not help my daughter in making this doll, as I want to let her create a doll that really shows how she perceives her father from her heart. So whenever I look at the doll, I see the love and the bonding between me and my daughter, and that is really sweet. In terms of role in the family, I share my responsibility with my wife in raising our children. I am mostly responsible for playing and entertainment part, whereas my wife focuses on the academic side. Bye bye!
爸爸接住，耶！
其實我覺得作為一個爸爸，同時一個籃球教練啦，我個人認為咧，剛柔並重咁樣去發揮爸爸嘅角色咧，其實都係好重要。所以喺工作以外啦，我都好重視咧同家人相處嘅時間啦。咁我好希望咧有更多心靈上面嘅溝通啦。咁咧喺粵語成長過程入邊咧，其實我都經常去鼓勵佢嘅。咁除咗同佢一齊玩之外啦，我都會教佢做功課啦，同埋待人接物啦。咁亦都會鼓勵佢創作嘅。咁最開心就係見到佢有源源不絕嘅靈感啦，同埋點子啦。咁喺將來咧都好希望咧繼續陪住佢喺身邊啦，鼓勵佢。我好喜歡咧粵語特別為我做呢個爸爸公仔啦。咁呢個創作嘅靈感咧好有童真。咁我見到都好開心，因為粵語有呢個創作啦，同埋表達自己都係一個開心嘅事嚟嘅。同埋咧，我喺佢心目中原來係 number one 嚟嘅喎。
爸爸，
係啊，粵語你喺爸爸心目中先係 number one 啊！
就係我心目中嘅爸爸，而家又邀請廚師爸爸出場。
我個乖女咧就最中意食我煮嘅意粉噶啦，所以我一得閒咧就煮呢個意粉俾佢食嘅。其實我每一日放工咧都真係好攰噶，有咩動力驅使我嚟去做咧？真係我好愛我呢個女，我呢份愛咧就成為我生活嘅動力同埋泉源。食完飯之後咧，我哋一家人咧都會分享我哋日常嘅點滴噶喎。我最中意聽阿千咧分享佢學校嘅趣事。當我睇到阿女眼中嘅我嘅時候咧，我真係好驚訝嘅，好欣賞阿千，亦都好感受到我哋之間好多嘅愛喎。I love you。
呢個超人爸爸公仔背後嘅故事係爸爸化身成一個超人。一手撐起間屋仔，仲能夠輕鬆自如咁樣做出 V 字手勢。為人父親呢，我除咗出外工作之外，返到屋企我都會分擔家務嘅，由煮飯、洗碗、洗衫，以至照顧個仔。因為我覺得男主外、女主內已經不合時宜㗎啦。至於個仔，佢對爸爸都好信任嘅。我哋一齊創作呢個超人爸爸公仔嘅時候，佢好放心。俾我將佢攞返嚟嘅公仔頭手腳全部解開晒。再次望返呢個公仔，我都會提醒自己，無論幾唔順境、幾辛苦，我都要撐住嘅，因為我係屋企人心目中嘅超人爸爸。
Hello， 蕭先生，恭喜你整嘅公仔獲獎喎！咁以下咧有幾個問題咧，想你同大家分享一下㗎。第一個咧就想問下咧，整嗰個公仔背後咧有冇特別嘅概念啊，或者故事咁㗎？
本身我係一個廚師嚟嘅，咁就都對於呢個煮嘢食方面都好有興趣啦。咁呢樣嘢咧都會帶埋翻屋企啦，因為點解咧？咁我經常性會同啲小朋友一齊去合作去煮一啲嘢食啊、甜品啊等等，同埋都佢哋每次品嚐完之後咧，都會好開心咧，咁直接到令到我都會好開心咯。咁就所以就我有個靈感就係做一個 super cook 咯，係。
咁另外咧就想問下咧，你自己喺屋企有啲咩角色啊？會幫手做下啲家務啊？或者好似太太咁樣陪住啲小朋友咁咧？
咁我就有2個小朋友啦，同埋我太太咧係一個全職嘅主婦。咁咧就如果我每一日咧就翻工就放工翻嚟咧，都會盡量抽多好多時間去陪小朋友去玩啊，同埋整下嘢食啊咁啦。咁就雖然我都知道係父母2個嘅角色都好重要咯，咁但係我亦都盡量可能抽多啲時間去分擔而家個責任咯，咁就咁咯。
咁即係你覺得媽咪喺屋企啦，同爹哋嘅角色一樣都係好重要嘅，都係可以陪到小朋友一齊去玩啊，去享受呢個家庭嘅時間，係咪？咁最後咧，就想問下你咧，你有冇幫小朋友一齊做呢個公仔啦？同埋當完成咗個公仔之後咧，你又有啲咩感想咧？
阿小家伯都係一齊有參與做啦，咁就其實佢因為2歲嘅小朋友，咁都俾好大嘅驚喜我咯。我初初都諗佢可能會搞陣啊，都係做唔到啲一啲幫手咁啦，但係結果佢都會好聽指令啊，咁佢做到每一樣嘢咯。咁所以呢一 part 我都會幾開心咯。咁就同埋到最後咧個作品啊，我哋好順利咁去完成到。咁就都而家得到你哋可以攞個一個小嘅獎品，有一個好大嘅鼓勵咯。
咁即係其實同小朋友一齊製作公仔咧，都係好開心嘅，係咪？咁好啊，多謝你嘅分享先。好啦，唔阻你煮嘢食啦嚇。好，拜拜。
Hi everyone, my name is Sano. It's Yalam's father. I'm thanking her school Victoria Kindergarten. What do I feel when I look at the doll? Yeah, I thought everything is amazing. But for me, it's not so much as to how or what the doll look at it. It represents who I am to her, how she sees me as her father. What expect to me? My role is in her life and the place she closely holds me in her heart. It also represents by telling me what we as parents are doing is simply right for our child. I mean, I'm ecstatic. She make me proud to be her father and me. Thank you.
That was some really wonderful sharing from the different fathers. The fathers showed a sense of pride and love, as you can see from their smiling faces. And it was great to see how much time these fathers spend with the children when participating in this competition. What really resonated with me was that when one of the fathers said that he shared the burden of housework, such as cooking, dishwashing, doing the laundry, and taking care of their son. He specifically said that the saying that men are breadwinners and women are homemakers is out of time. This is evidence to show that people are changing their minds about the roles that families and men are willing to do more to empower women at home. As part of the HeForShe, HeForFamily series, the Hong Kong Federation of Women also organized the parent-child storytelling competition for pre-kindergarten and kindergarten students. In this competition, the daddies or granddaddies tell a story with the child. This is for the daddy or the granddaddy, who is a male figure, to participate in the upbringing of the children and also to consider the ideas of filial piety. We received very interesting and imaginative videos. The finalists were invited to tell the story on stage. You can watch the performance on the day by following the link below, which can be found on the YouTube page. On this special occasion, we've asked the champion father and the father of the first runner-up to share their thoughts with you. First, we have Mr. Tommy Falk, who is the first runner-up to share with us the story of the crow. Then we shall show the champion entry, Papa, Don't Be Scared, before Mr. Jack Chen shares with you.
大家好，我叫陈童心，我今天要讲的故事是爸爸别怕。
秋天，熊爸爸带着小熊星星找食物吃。
星星，秋天到了，好多果子都成熟了，我们还可以去河里捉鱼呢。可是，就是别吃兔子草，听说吃了会变成 兔子呢？
这时，突然电闪雷鸣，下起了暴雨。星星害怕地说：“
爸爸，我怕。”
孩子，别怕，有我呢。
雨停了，一条大蛇窜了过来。星星害怕地说：“
爸爸，我怕。”
孩子，别怕，有我呢。
熊爸爸一掌把蛇打到了天上去。
谢谢。
Hello, my name is Jack. My daughter Allison and me joined a storytelling competition last year. The play is about a daddy bear and its child little bear protecting each other when the other side is at a vulnerable situation. It is such an interesting story and we were so much into it. So when we received the invitation, we said, why not? Allison, her mom Tracy, and me went on the stage together. So do we do many other things together in our real life. Tracy and me have been supporting the family and going almost 50 and 50 in terms of family responsibilities. She spends more time in kids' education, while I'm normally the one arranging outdoor activities and physical exercises. So how to be more time efficient is a real challenge to me, especially in the last year when we have our second little one. My trick is to adopt the best time to sleep and get up early for my own workout and to get more work done. When all the others get up, I have already made some accomplishment and my energy level is boosted, my focus is sharp. Well, in the future, I foresee it is even more challenging to me in terms of time management, as I will take most responsibilities in my job and less time working from home. The thing I'm currently experimenting is to influence the kids and Tracy with the things I am interested and also good for them. Meanwhile, I'm more than happy to give a try on their hobbies, their interest. So potentially in the future, we will have even more times being together where everybody still enjoys in it. That's all for my sharing. Take care, everyone.
Bill chose the story of the cow because from the story, let the children understand how their parents protect them from the wind and rain. Where the children grow up and have a ability to go out on their own, they will thank their parents for their payout over the year and begin to feel them back. My parents' role in the family is the big winner, so it is important to stay healthy because a healthy body can take care of a family. The second is to be a coordinator, working with my wife to make the family deal with each dispute a negotiated and be well balanced. The third, I am the family instructor who instill my family each concept and inhabits the value of the Chinese nation in daily life. Third, be a deputy practitioner and take time out and accompany my children's developmental activity, both in and out of the school. Third, be a role model. There is a beginning and an end doing thing and can give it up halfway. Commitment to the children must be done. Instead, the concept of doing what you can and don't make rush decisions. 6. Teach the children to understand the game and laws from the game, and learning to communicate with others. Finally, being a commentator, when the children is punished for doing something wrong, I must explain to the child where is the mistake is, why he was punished, how to correct the mistake, and admit the mistake. My wife is a full-time housewife, so our family is the traditional model family with a man outside and a woman inside. My wife and me had difficult role to play, but will Johnny formulated our family do to build up a harmony house. When there is important matter, communicating with each other to make a more favorable decision. Moreover, my wife and me set up from the fundamental education our children by example. We will not make trouble and accuse each other. Discuss everything kindly with each other and reach a consent. My wife will guide the children in the learning in the course, and I will assist from the side. In ordinary housework, I will also take the time to assist, to help, and give her some wish time. The future of family, like in most people, first of all, make the family have a financial abundant environment, give the family comfortable space, and give a harmony and a happy home. In the turn of the education, children, in addition to beginning successful in their study, I also hope that they know how to behave, know their responsibility to society, and how to protect themselves in the danger world. Within the scope of their activity, I hope that they can go all over the world, experience the real side of the world for themselves, and observe the wisdom that is locked in the textbook.
Wow, we can see how much effort and thought has been given by these fathers for this competition and in the upbringing of their children. I have to first thank all the super daddies today for taking your time out of your busy schedule to give us such insightful and personal sharing. Not only do we see these role model super daddies continuously learning how to and striving to become better husbands and fathers, it's very encouraging to see that our policymakers are concerned about this issue and will put this on their agenda. With the changing world of work, women's economic empowerment is extremely important. Hong Kong is an international, safe, and mobile city. However, the biggest problem for women is a cultural bias for us to stay at home and for the husband to be the rice winner. Even so, as we can see progress shown today by all the super daddies sharing. We are also supported by the Hong Kong government, who are developing policies to empower women in the workplace. This includes increasing maternal and paternal leave, strengthening public service in children and elderly care, and protecting women from breastfeeding bias. This month, on International Women's Day, our chief executive, Carrie Lam, said that her administration is committed to equal access to resources and opportunities in promoting women's participation in social affairs. We believe that with further promotion and education and changing traditional gender bias, and with the support of the government, more men would be more willing to help out with the matters of the house and breaking these gender roles. Hong Kong would become a more inclusive society, and people would learn to become more compassionate and caring for each other, so that we can strive to do the best that we can for Hong Kong. In line with the UN global campaign of HeForShe at home, which seeks to highlight the unfair burden on women and encourage men to do their fair share at home, such as vacuuming, washing the dishes, taking care of the children. What starts from HeForShe and HeForFamily becomes He for Hong Kong. Well, I hope we inspired you today, but after hearing from so many people and so many role models, I know you must have some burning questions. So let's invite Karen, Winnie, and Heidi back out to answer some of your questions. Okay, so let me take a look here. First question here is, you've talked about HeForShe and HeForFamily, but practically and truthfully speaking, do you think it is realistic to ask Hong Kong men to take up more housework or responsibilities at home in a traditional family in Hong Kong? Maybe Heidi?
I don't think it is something we should be asking. It should be something that we want to do in order to support their partner. We know that COVID-19 has hit women the hardest, as they told, on the majority or all the additional unpaid care work related to school or childcare facility closure. They seriously need the help of those around them, especially the support of their plus one, not just for their physical or mental health, I think.
Yeah, and for me, although it seems hard because the traditional mindset in Hong Kong is quite ingrained. So when you see your loved ones so distressed, I believe they will definitely try to do something about it. So I believe Hong Kong men would be very, very willing to take up more responsibility at home.
Yes, I really hope so. I think this is especially so when they realize, how gratifying it is to help out at home and to build relationships, not just with their wives, their mothers, but also with their children, especially as what we've seen with the super daddies today in the different competitions. I believe, once you feel the love and the happiness, they just don't want to stop helping out.
Yeah, I think, it is also quite, it's also quite important that the government should also encourage, women's participation in the public affairs as well, and to encourage women participation in the workforce. As you know, like female civil servants, they now made up approximately 38% of the entire civil servant workforce, and in the private market, about 30% of the managerial positions are filled by women, and approximately 40% of the directors on the Hang Seng index-listed companies are women. So women need more help and support of the men at home, the way that she was supported. And as you know, colleagues in the workforce can also share more responsibilities and build a very supportive and collaborative environment in order to make it, a success.
I mean, I guess other than colleagues, educating the family, so we can start from schools or from after school activities. As we can see from the super daddies today, once their mindset has been changed, it's like a different way of perceiving things. And this is kind of contagious. It kind of, I don't know, if they talk with the other parents, then a little different. So if the children learns this from school and they kind of bring it back to home, then maybe this will affect their parents as well. Let me see. Okay, what about this question? We've talked about housework and taking care of the children. Is there anything else the men can help at home?
I think apart from just helping women physically and financially, the emotional support to women is also very important. Let women express their thought, their emotion in a positive way. Me time is also good for health, and maybe it could enhance the relationship between family members. So we're all going through different challenges and obstacles. Nobody could be the same, so respect each other. It's very important.
Yes, and refer to the sharing from the logical members today. They always come across some crucial elements regarding gender equality when being a husband and father, such as express love and respect. Emotional support. Yeah.
And the 5 love languages, right? That we can draw reference to. And I think, as some of the, as echoed in the interviews or in the sharing, the core value is really the love that holds the family together. So never be too shy to say, I love you to your loved ones.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh, a question from Cecilia Mowat. She is asking, how do men specifically support other women in their lives, their daughters, their co-workers? So maybe like where we rephrase this, like, other than housework and helping out with the children, what else can men do, right? Winnie.
Well, I think everybody has kind of a different role in the HeForShe movement. The ultimate goal of gender equality requires a very inclusive approach that recognizes both the value of men and women as equal partners in the implementation or that shared vision of gender equality. Gender equality has been is a very important theme, and all genders have an important role to play in order to progress towards gender equality.
Yeah, I think gender equality has often been for women by women long times ago. However, all gender should have a role to play for that. And HeForShe actively mobilizes these new demographics to regeneralize the women's movement and accelerate the progress towards the achievement of gender equality, I think.
I mean, I saw this report recently from Lewis, and there are some very interesting ideas. I mean, other than taking on the more traditional female roles in the household, which we've mentioned, like cleaning, cooking, childcare, there's things like speaking out against gender inequality when they see it. So this is especially useful at the workplace. And there's also actively participating in conversations about gender inequality with your friends or with other people of around you. And there's also promoting rules and laws against gender inequality and also educating others on gender equality. I think these are all very good ways that, men could speak up on this topic.
Yeah, I think we got the last question from the chat box. That is, how can working women have the time to exercise and stay healthy with the family? So,
as a matter of fact, I would like to say that our federation, we've been working with Kaitak, we have produced an exercise for family to do together at home. So it caters for the sick, for the elderly who can do exercise just sitting down at home. So there are two versions. The first version is to learn the movement 30 minutes. And the second one is to do the exercise every day. Our Secretariat office is going to share the link on our website. And if possible, we can also share it on our chat box later, or share with email. Yep. Exercise.
Very energetic. Okay, after the Q&A sections, it almost come to the end of our Paleo's event today. And we hope that you all have some insight on the HeForShe progress in Hong Kong. And last but not the least, we are happy to have a local composer to compose a songs for our HeForShe Parallel event, We Together, and hope you will enjoy this song.
You're home late, how was your day? You seem distant, is everything okay? Day by day we drift apart, I lose my will to try. We chose this life, but now I wonder why.
If you could see things from my eyes, the daily battles which I kept inside, the burden carried on my back, the emptiness, the strength I lack, a piece but something of the past.
Let's work this this out together, you and I. We say we will, but our actions speak louder. Let's make a change, a brand new start. We're stronger together than apart. Let's break the mold which holds us back from who we really are. Let's make a move and meet halfway. Let go my doubts, I know you'll do the same. Looking back and searching for what we had from the start. But love for you is stronger than what's pulling us apart.
I need you just the same. Look past my pride and communicate. Commitment to supporting one another down this path. Searching for what we once had.
Let's work this out together, you and I. We say we will, but our actions speak louder. Let's make a change, a brand new start. We're stronger together than apart. Let's break the mold which holds us back from home. Let's work this out together, you and I. We say we will, but our actions speak louder. Let's make a change, a brand new start. We're stronger together than apart. Let's break the mold which holds us back from who we really are. Oh, let's work this out together. Let's work this out together. We say we will, but our actions speak louder. Let's make a change, a brand new start. Strong together than apart. Let's break the mold which holds us back from who we really are. We really are. We really are.
A catchy song. I just can't stop, bobbing my head to the music. And it's very, meaningful as well, We Together. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you for everyone who shared today. We really hope you enjoyed and we hope to see you next year. And in the meantime, please stay safe and remember to share your responsibilities, vacuuming the floor and so on. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.